Okay, so this is the daf for Shabbat, March 22nd, 2025. We're in Sanhedrin 95. Please do not watch this on Shabbat. Please watch it before or watch it after, but not on Shabbat. Thank you. The poor, Aniah, Anothot, Isaiah 10:30. So poor, Anathot. Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, is destined to prophesy about Nebuchadnezzar from Anathot. As it is written, the statements of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, of the priests who were in Anathot in the land of Benjamin. Jeremiah 1:1. So the Gemara asks, are these matters comparable? There in Jeremiah, Nebuchadnezzar is called Ari, as the verse refers to him with the term Aryeh, and here in Isaiah, meaning a lion, of course, and here in Isaiah, Nebuchadnezzar is called Laish. Gemara explains that the verses are not contradictory. As Rabbi Yochanan says, there are 6 Hebrew terms for the lion. They are Ari, Kefir, Lavi, Laish, Shachal, Shachatz. The Gemara challenges, if it is so that this verse is unrelated to the journeys of Sennacherib, then the places listed in the verse are too few, as there are not 10. The Gemara explains, Averu and Mabara are in fact the names of 2 separate places. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the phrase, this very day shall be halt on Nov? Isaiah 10:32. Rabbi Huna says, that was the final day that remained from the punishment of the Jewish people received from the sin of Nov. See 1 Samuel 22, chapter 22. Astrologers said to Sennacherib, if you go and conquer them now, you will overcome the Jewish people, and if not, you will not overcome the Jewish people. The Gemara relates, he walked and traversed in one day a road upon which one must walk for 10 days in order to traverse it. When they arrived in Jerusalem, they cast mats, or bistarke, for Sennacherib and piled them high until he ascended and sat above the wall, to the extent that he was able to see the entire city of Jerusalem. When he saw it, it seemed small in his eyes, and he said, is this the city of Jerusalem for which I have disrupted all my camps and for which I have conquered all these countries? It is smaller and weaker than all the cities and the nations that I have conquered with my might. He went up and shook his head in contempt and dismissively waved his hand at the Temple Mount that is in Zion and at the courtyard that is in Jerusalem. His officers said to him, let us attack now and begin the conquest of Jerusalem. Sennacherib said to them, you are weary. Tomorrow each and every one of you will bring me a piece of stone from the wall equivalent in size to the seal or gulmo harag of a letter, and this will suffice to breach the wall and vanquish the city. The verse recounts that immediately, and it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord went forth and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000 corpses. 2 Kings 19:35. Rav Papa says that this is in accordance with the adage that people say, when the quarrel lies and is delayed overnight, the quarrel is nullified. Since Jerusalem was not conquered that day, the decree was voided. Apropos the massacre of Nov, the Gemara relates, and Ishbi-Benov, who was the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear was 300 shekels of brass, and he was girded with new armor and planned to slay David. 2 Samuel 21:16. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of Ishbi-Benov? Rabbi Yehuda says that Rav says this is a man, or Ish, who came to punish David over the matters of Nov. The Holy One, blessed be he, said to David, until when will this sin be concealed in your hand without punishment? Through your actions, the inhabitants of Nov, the city of priests, were massacred, and through your actions, Doeg the Edomite was banished from the world to come, and through your actions, Saul and his 3 sons were killed. God said to David, your rival in Nov and your misleading Ahimelech, the priest, generated the chain of events, and therefore you must be punished. You may choose the punishment. It is your desire, and that your descendants will cease to exist, or that you will be handed to the enemy. David said before him, Master of the universe, it is preferable that I will be handed to the enemy, and my descendants will not cease to exist. One day David went to hunt with a falcon, or Iskor Bazai. Satan came and appeared to him as a deer. He shot an arrow at the deer, and the arrow did not reach it. Satan led David to follow the deer until he reached the land of the Philistines. When Ishbibanov saw David, he said, "This is that person who killed Goliath, my brother." He bound him, doubled him over, and placed him on the ground, and then he cast him under the beam of an olive press to crush him. A miracle was performed for him, and the earth opened beneath him, so he was not crushed by the beam. This is the meaning of that which is written, "You have enlarged my steps beneath me, that my feet did not slip." Psalms 18:37. The Gemara relates, that day at dusk on Erev Shabbat, Abishai ben Zeruiah shampooed his hair with 4 jugs of water in preparation for Shabbat. He saw 4 bloodstains. There are those who say a dove came and fluttered its wings before him. Abishai said, "The congregation of Israel is likened to a dove. As it is stated, you shall shine as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her pinions with yellow gold." Psalm 68:14. Conclude from it that David, the king of Israel, is in a state of distress. He came to David's house and did not find him. Abishai said that we learned in a Mishnah, so Sanhedrin 22a, one may not ride on the king's horse, and one may not sit on his throne, and one may not use his scepter in a period of danger. What is the halacha? He came and asked in the study hall what the ruling is in that situation. They said to him, in a period of danger, one may well do so. He mounted the king's mule and arose and went to the land of the Philistines. The land miraculously contracted for him. So this is Kvitzat Haderech, the shortening of the land, the distance. The land miraculously contracted for him, and he arrived quickly. As he was progressing, he saw Orpah, Ishbibanov's mother, who was spinning thread with a spindle. When she saw him, she removed her spindle and threw it at him, intending to kill him. After failing to do so, she said to Abishai, "Young man, bring me my spindle." He threw the spindle and stuck her at the top of her brain and killed her. When Ishbibanov saw him, he said, "Now there are 2, David and Abishai, and they will kill me." He threw David up in the air and stuck his spear into the ground. He said, "Let David fall upon it and die." Abishai recited a sacred name of God and suspended David between heaven and earth so that he would not fall. The Gemara asks, and let David himself recite the name of God and save himself. Why did he need Abishai? The Gemara answers, a prisoner does not release himself from a prison, but requires someone else to release him. Similarly, one in danger is incapable of rescuing himself. Abishai said to David, "What do you seek here, and why did you fall into Ishbibanov's hands?" David said to him, "This is what the Holy One, blessed be he, said to me. This is what I responded to him. The time to submit to my enemy has arrived." Abishai said to him, "Reverse your prayer and pray that your descendants will cease to exist, rather than that you will be handed over to the enemy. In accordance with the adage that people say, let your son's son be a poor peddler and sell wax, and you will not suffer. Do not limit your expenses to leave an inheritance for your descendants." And I want to point something out. So the one thing about sorcery is that it becomes, we talked about this before in Sanhedrin, that it's nullified whenever it touches water. The other thing is that it has to touch the earth. It has to be grounded. And there's stories about the Baal Shem Tov where there was a certain family that had they wanted a child, and the Baal Shem Tov blessed them with the child, but he said this child, until he reaches a certain age, I don't remember the age, he might have been like 5 or something like that, he cannot touch the ground. His feet cannot touch the ground. Keep him up on a couch. Make sure you always have someone there, and they were a rich family. He said, make sure there's always someone there watching him, a nanny or something. And the day that he was having the birthday for the time period where he could finally touch the ground, the nanny thought, no big deal, it's almost over, this is silliness anyhow, and she let him touch the ground, and as soon as he touched the floor, it looked like he fell right through the floor. And what it was a sorcerer that was working with another family that wanted a child, he stole that child. And it's a crazy story, but it highlights that sorcery is connected to the grounding with the earth. Whereas you see in this story here, he was using the name of God. David was suspended in the air, which means that it wasn't sorcery. It was a miraculous thing. So here we go. David said to him, "So help me." That is the meaning of that which is written in Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to his aid, and smote the Philistine and killed him. 2 Samuel 21:17. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says this means that he came to his aid in prayer. Abishai recited another sacred name of God and caused David to land safely after being suspended between heaven and earth, and they fled. Ishbibonov pursued them and intended to kill them. When they reached a place named Kuvi, they said, the name of the place is an abbreviation for the phrase meaning stand and battle against him, or Kum Be. When they reached the place called Be Tere, David and Abishai said with two, or Bitre, with two cubs, they killed the lion, meaning they expected to be successful. They said to Ishbibonov, "Go find Orpah, your mother, in the grave." When they mentioned his mother's name to him and told him she died, his strength diminished and they killed him. The Gemara notes, it is after this that is written, then David's men took an oath to him, saying, "You shall not go with us to war anymore, and you will not douse the lamp of Israel." 2 Samuel 21:17. The sages taught in a Braita with regard to land contracting to shorten a journey. For 3 individuals, the land contracted. Again, this is Kavitzat Haderach, the shortening of the way. And each one miraculously reached his destination quickly. Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, and Yaakov, our forefather, and Abishai, son of Zeruiah. The Gemara elaborates, the case of Abishai, son of Zeruiah, is that which we said. In the case of Eliezer, son of Abraham, it is as it is written, and I came that day to the well. His intention was to say to the members of Rebekah's family that on that day he left Canaan, and on the same day he arrived, to underscore the miraculous nature of his undertaking on behalf of Abraham. So the case of Jacob, our forefather, is as it is written, and Jacob departed from Beersheba and went to Haran, Genesis 28 verse 10, and is written thereafter, ostensibly after he arrived in Haran, and he encountered Vayifka, the place, and he slept there, for the sun had set, Genesis 28:11. This means that when Yaakov arrived at Haran, he said, "It is possible that I bypassed a place where my forefathers prayed, and I did not pray there." He sought to return to Beit El. Once he contemplated it in his mind to return, the land contracted for him, and immediately, and he encountered the place, indicating that he arrived there unexpectedly sooner than he would have arrived without a miracle. Alternatively, encounter means nothing other than prayer, as it is stated, "And you, do not pray on behalf of this nation. Do not raise on their behalf song and prayer, and do not encounter or tifga me, for I have not heard you." Jeremiah 7:16. And it is written, and he slept there because the land had set. Genesis 28:11. After Jacob prayed and he sought to return to his travels, the Holy One, blessed be he, said, "This righteous man came to my inn. Will I allow him to take leave without sleeping here?" Immediately the sun set, not at its proper time, and that is the meaning of that which is written with regard to Jacob. And the sun shone for him when he passed Penuel. Genesis 32:32. The Gemara asks, and did the sun shine only for him? But didn't the sun shine for the entire world? Rather, Rabbi Yitzchak says, the sun that set not at the proper time exclusively for him shone not in the proper time exclusively for him, in order to rectify the disparity created by the premature sunset. Apropos David's prayer that his descendants cease, the Gemara asks, and from where do we derive that David's descendants cease to exist? It is derived from a verse as it is stated in Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead. And she arose and destroyed all the royal descendants. 2 Kings 11, verse 1. The Gemara asks, But didn't Joash remain alive, and therefore not all of David's descendants ceased to exist? The Gemara answers, here too, in the massacre of Nov, Abiathar, one of the priests, remained alive, as it is written, in one of the sons of Avimelech, son of Ahituv, named Abiathar, escaped. 2 Kings 1 Samuel 22:20. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says, were it not for the fact that Abiathar remained alive for Ahimelech, son of Ahituv, there would have been no remnant or refugee remaining from the descendants of David. Apropos Sanhedrin, Rav Yehuda says that Rav says Sanhedrin, the wicked, came upon them with 45,000 men, sons of kings, sitting in carriages of gold, and with them were consorts and prostitutes, and with 80,000 warriors, each wearing a coat of mail, and with 60,000 sword bearers running before him, and the rest were cavalry. And likewise, when the 4 kings came upon Abraham to wage war in the land of Canaan, see Genesis chapter 14, they brought forces of that magnitude, and likewise forces of that magnitude are destined to come with Gog and Magog in the ultimate war. It is taught in Braita, the length of the camp of Sennacherib was 400 parsangs, and the width of the necks of his horses side by side was 40 parsangs. Wow. And the total number of soldiers in his camp was 260 10,000s minus 1. So that means 2.6 million. Abaye asks, is the Tana saying minus 1 unit of 10,000, or minus 1 unit of 1,000, or minus 1 unit of 100, or minus 1? The Gemara concludes, the question shall stand unresolved. It was taught the first set of soldiers in the army of Sennacherib crossed by swimming across the Jordan, as it is stated, he shall sweep through Judea, he shall overflow and pass. Isaiah 8:8. Since the water level diminished with their crossing, the middle group of soldiers passed while standing upright, as it is stated, it shall reach even the neck. Isaiah 8:8. The last soldiers already kicked up dust with their feet, and they did not find water in the river to drink, and they had no water until they brought water from another place and drank, as it is stated. I dug and drank water. Isaiah 37, verse 25. The Gemara asks, but isn't it written, then the angel of the Lord went forth and smote the camp of the Assyrians 180,000, and when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. Isaiah 37, verse 36. Apparently, there were many fewer soldiers than the number listed in the Braita. Rabbi Abahu says, these listed here are regiment leaders who commanded numerous soldiers. Rav Ashi says, it is also precise in the formulation of the verse as it is written, therefore shall the master, the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones leanness. Isaiah 10:16, indicating that it was the fat, or that is a significant among them who were afflicted. Ravina says the language is also precise in the formulation of another verse, and as it is written, the Lord sent an angel who obliterated the mighty men at arms and leaders and captains in the city of the king of Syria. So he returned shamefacedly to his own land, and when he came into the house of his God, his own offspring slew him there with a sword. 2 Chronicles 32:21. The Gemara conclude from it that the leaders of the regiment were the ones killed. The Gemara asks, with what did the angel strike them? Rabbi Eliezer says he struck them by hand, as it is stated, and Israel saw the great hand. Exodus 14, verse 31, where the term for hand or yod is preceded by the definite article ha, indicating that this was the hand that was designated to exact retribution from Sennacherib. Rabbi Yehoshua says he struck them with his fierce anger, as it is stated, and the sorcerer said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of God, Exodus 8:15, indicating that it is the finger that was destined to exact retribution from Sennacherib. Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Yehoshua Haglili, says that the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Gavriel, "Is your scythe honed?" Gavriel said before him, "Master of the universe, it is standing honed from the 6 days of creation." And it is stated, "For they have fled from the swords, from the honed sword." Isaiah 21:15. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says that period was the reason of the widening. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says that period was the season of the ripening of the fruit. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to Gavriel, "When you emerge to ripen the fruits, attend to the army of Assyria and destroy them, as it is stated. As often as it passes through, it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass through, by day and by night, and the mere understanding of the report shall bring terror." Isaiah 28, verse 19. Indicating that Gavriel was to kill them while engaged in another activity. So Rav Papa says that this is in accordance with the adage that people say, "While on your path, appear before your enemy and afflict him." There are those who say the angel blew into the soldiers of the Assyrian army through their noses, and they died, as it is stated. When he blows upon them and they wither. Isaiah 40, verse 24. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba says the angel clapped his hands to them and they died, as said, "And I will also strike my hands together and I will assuage my anger." Ezekiel 21:22. Rabbi Yitzchak Napacha says he revealed his ears for them and they were able to hear the songs of the praise from the mouths of the celestial creatures during the chariot of God, and they died, as it is stated, "From your exaltation the nations were scattered." Isaiah 33, verse 3, indicating that their death was caused by the revelation of God's greatness. And how many of the soldiers remained alive? Rav says 10 soldiers, as is stated, and the rest of the trees of his forest shall be few. That a child may write them. Isaiah 10:19. And what number can a child easily write? It is the number 10, represented by the letter Yod, which is the smallest letter. And Shmuel says 9 remained, as it is stated, "And the gleaning shall be left of him, as in the beating of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the branches of the fruit tree." Isaiah 17, verse 6. 4 and 5 total 9. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says 14 remained, as it is stated, 2 or 3, 4 or 5. 2 or 3, etc., 4 or 5, which total 14. Rabbi Yochanan says 5 remained, Sanhedrin and his 2 sons, and Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard. The fact that Nebuzaradan was among them is learned through tradition. Nebuchadnezzar was among them, as it is written that Nebuchadnezzar said when he saw an angel with Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, "In the appearance of the fourth is like that of an angel." Daniel 3:25. And if he had not yet seen the angel that smote Sennacherib's army, from where would he have known that the fourth person looked like an angel? Sennacherib and his 2 sons were among them, as it is written later in their regard. And it came to pass, when he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch his god, that Adram-melech and Sarezer his son smote him with the sword. 2 Kings 19:37. Evidently, the 3 of them survived. Rabbi Abahu says, were the following verse not written, it would have been impossible to say it, since it appears to have been a desecration of the name of God, as it is written, quote, "On that day shall the Lord shave with a hired razor in the parts beyond the river, the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the legs, and it shall also sweep away the bread." Isaiah 7:20. The blasphemous indication is that the Holy One, blessed be He, will himself shave Sennacherib. Rather, this is the incident depicted in the verse, the Holy One, blessed be He, came and appeared to Sennacherib as an old man. And God said to him, when you go to the kings of the east and the west, whose children you brought and killed, what will with the same fear as that man referring to himself is also I'll start. Rather, this is the incident depicted in the verse. The Holy One, blessed be He, came and appeared to Sanhedrin as an old man. God said to him, when you go to the kings of the east and the west, whose children you brought and killed, and what will you say to them? Sennacherib said to the Holy One, blessed be He, that man, referring to himself, also sits overcome with the same fear as I do not know what to say to them. Sennacherib said to the Holy One, blessed be He, what should we do? The Holy One, blessed be He, said to him, go. And that is the end of Daf 95. Thank you.